In this video, we're going to learn how to factor a trinomial who is the leading coefficient. That's this number is not a 1. In the previous video, all the examples we did, the leading coefficient was 1. So we had a straightforward method to handle that. When the leading coefficient is not 1, it's really more than a trial and error method. It's kind of a guessing game. So for example, let's say we're given this problem, factor (2x² plus 7x plus the 6). And the way we're going to do that, we're going to try to list all the factors of 2x². How do you get 2x²? It's either, well, it's only one choice. It's 2x times 1x. Or, if you want to put another choice, 2 times x². But we're not looking for that. We're going to split the x. So it's 2x times 1x, that's 2x². Now notice this is a plus 6. From the previous video we said if this sign is positive, that tells me both signs are the same. Same sign. Same as what? Same as the one before it. So in this case the factor of 6 both going to be positive. So how do we get 6? It's either 2 times 3, positive 2 times a positive 3, or 6 times 1. We're not using the negative values because if we use negative, this value will be a negative. So I'm wasting my time. And the reason we call it trial and error method, because we're going to go through it and try this one with this, see if it'll work. If it doesn't, try this one with that, and hopefully one of them will work. So let's try that. 2x and x. You don't have to put the 1 and x. The 2 and the 3. Let's put a 2 here. Let's put a 3 here, both positive. And the question, is this correct? I know 2x times x is going to be 2x². That's good. I know 2 times 3 is plus 6. That's also good. The question in my mind, do I have plus 7x? And the way to see if you have it or not is you take these two, multiply them out, that's 2x, and you multiply these two out, and that's what, 6x, and when you add them, what's 2x plus 6x? That is 8x, not 7x. So that's not good. This is not working. So not good. Again, what can I do now? Can I go try the 6 and the 1? Yes, I can, but instead of doing that, let me flip-flop the 3 and the 2 first. Because these no longer equal, because they are different. If you switch the 3 and the 2, you will have a different answer. So before we give up on the 2 and the 3, let's try the other option. Put the 3 here and put the 2 there. And let's see if that will work out. What's 3 times x? 3x. What is 2 times 2x? 4x. And when you add them, what do we have? We have 7x. Isn't that what you want to have? So that is the correct factoring. Perfect. We get the right answer. So to factor 2x² plus 7x plus 6, you can say the answer to that is 2x plus 3 times x plus 2. Again, you'll be surprised how many times people ask me, does it make a difference if I write these backward? The answer is no. So I could have wrote this x plus 2 times 2x plus 3. Either way is correct. Again, we call it trial and error. We try this with this. If it doesn't work, we'll try this with this. If it doesn't work, let's try the next one and the next one. So let's take a few examples, go through them, and see how we're going to handle that. Let's try 3x squared factor. Here we go. 3x squared plus 11x plus 10. The good news here for these problems, 3x squared is only one option. 3x and 1x. Again, notice this is positive. That tells me both signs the same as this. Both are positive. So the 10 could be 5 and 2 or 10 and 1. I'm using only positive numbers because if that sign says both signs are the same as this. So both have to be positive. They can't be negative. And let's try the first one. Let's try the 3x and the x, and your guess is good as mine. Let's try the 2 and the 5. Let's see if it works. Again, 3x times x, the 3x squared. 2 times 5, that's the 10, that's good too. Do we have 11x? That's a 2x. That's a 15x. When you add them, that's what? 17x. Not good. Wrong. Again, before you give up on the 5 and the 2, let's flip-flop them. 3x, put the plus 5 with it, and x, and put the plus 2 with the x. Let's try that. What's 5 times x? That's 5x. What's 2 times 3x? 6x. And when you add them, what do we have? 11x, and that is the correct answer because you want that to be 11x. So we can say 3x squared plus 11x plus 10 is equal to, when you factor it, 3x plus 5 times x plus 2. Let's try another one. Factor. Five x squared plus 14x plus 8. Notice I've been having a little cheating here, basically. And what do I mean by that? When you look at the first one we did, the first two actually, there was only one option for the first one. 2x times 1x. One option to factor 3x squared, 3x times 1x. One option for 5x squared, that's 5x times 1x. Soon enough, you're going to see there's more than one option here. Maybe the next example I'll do that. But I wanted to start slowly with them. Again, this is another one where this is a plus. That tells me both signs the same as this. So the 8 could be 4 times 2 or 8 times 1. And let's try it. 5x and x and 1 and 8. Both positive. I decide to go with 1 and 8 first instead of 4 and 2. Tested. That's 1x. 40x. When you add them, that's what? 41x. No way. It's supposed to be 14. Let me switch the 1 and 8. Put the 1 here. Put the 8 here. Eight times x, 8x. 1 times 5x, 5x. When you add them, what? 13x. Close, but it's not 14. No, that's not it. So the 1 and 8 may be not a good choice. Let's try the 4 and 2. Put the 2, put the 4. Again, check to see if we have the 14x. That's 2x. 20x, when you add them, that's what? 22x. Not good. One more option. 5x, x, 4 and 2. Let's try that. 4x, 10x, when you add them, 14x, perfect. Finally, we get the answer. Now, if this didn't work out, there are no more choices. That means you can't factor that problem. It's a prime. So when I write this, that's 5x squared plus 14x plus 8. To factor that, that is 5x plus 4 times x plus 2. Let's make the problem more challenging. Let's give you more than one choice for the first term. Sometimes you have 3, 4 choices for it, and 3, 4 choices here, which will make it 24 different combinations. So let's factor 21 minus 25x plus 6x squared. If you watch my previous video, I probably told you I don't like to see the expression written like this. I like them in descending power. So in descending power, this will be 6x squared minus 25x plus the 21. You can rearrange them. And now let's look at the 6x squared. I can get 6x squared two different ways. Either 2x times 3x or 6x times 1x. Again, notice this is positive, which means the signs are the same, the signs the same as this one. So they're both going to be negative. 21 could be negative 7 times negative 3, or negative 21 times a negative 1. Both signs have to be the same as this one. Both have to be negative. And your guess is good as mine. So you can start with this one if you want to, with that one. See if that'll work. And if it doesn't, we'll take this with that. And if it still doesn't, then we go try this with this. And if it doesn't, this with this. So we could have 8 different possibilities here. So let's try the first one. 2x, the 3x. That's this one. I didn't mean to close the parentheses. And let me try the negative 7, negative 3 again. Let's put the negative 7 here, negative 3. If it doesn't work out, we'll swap them. Three times 7 is what? 21. That's a negative 21x. This is a negative 6x. When you add them, that's what? Negative 27x. Close, but that's not really it. That's not the one. Let me swap them. 2x minus 3x minus the 7. So I'm putting the negative 3 on this side, the negative 7 on that side. Negative 9x. Negative 7 times 2, negative 14x. And when we add them, what's the result? 9 and 14 is 23x. Nope, not good. I can either change this and this, or try this with that for now. So let me try the 6x and the 1x with that one. So let's try it. 6x and 1x. And let me try 3 and 7. So I'm trying this with this now. And if it doesn't work out, I'll go and use that number. I'll try this with this and this with that one. Negative 3x. Negative 42x. Add them. Negative 45x. Nope. Six x and x. Put the negative 7 here. Put the negative 3 there. Negative 7x. Negative 18x. When you add them, what do we have? Negative 25x. And that's exactly what we need. Negative 25x. So that is my correct factoring. So when you factor 21 minus 25x plus 6x squared, your answer is going to be 6x minus 7 times x minus 3. Or you can write the x minus 3 first times 6x minus 7. Every example that we did on this video so far, the last sign was positive, which means both signs are the same. They're either both positive or they're both negative. Now let's look at it if the last sign is negative, not positive. How is that going to be different? Let's factor 2y squared plus 19y minus 10. Again, that minus sign here tells me we will have different signs. And it doesn't tell me which one is the positive, which one is the negative. It just says we will have a different signs. So the 2y squared That's either 2y times y or 2 times y squared. Again, just like before, we're going to split the y, so we're not going to use 2 times y squared. It's silly. The negative 10 here, it's either going to be negative 5 times a 2, or 5 times a negative 2, or negative 10 times 1, or 10 times a negative 1. And we have 8 different things to try. Let's try this and this first. 2y minus 5. And y, put the plus 2. That's a plus here, negative and positive. So there's the negative 5 and the plus 2. Negative 5y plus 4y, the result is negative 1y. That's not it. Switch them. 2y plus 2, y minus 5. Check to see if we have the plus 19y. 2y, negative 10y, the result is what? Negative 8y. Not good either. Let's try this one, the 5 and the negative 2. Plus 5 minus 2. That's 5y, negative 4y. The result is what? Y here. The result is 1y. No. Try 2y plus 5 times y minus 2. Oh, I'm sorry, I got to switch them now. I got to put the minus 2 here. I already did this one. That's this one. I'm going to put the minus 2 here and the plus 5 here. It's going to be like this because I was going to make it 8 here. Negative 2y. That's 10y, and the result is 8y. Not good. Usually when you switch the sign, notice if you look right here, just switch the sign. So you know this is not going to work. By switching the sign, it's going to give me 19? No way. By switching the sign, I'm not going to have 19. So I really could have bypassed that step here, knowing the first one didn't work. There's a good chance this is not going to work. But it's all right. Let's take now the negative 10 and 1. So I'm not done with this. So I'm going to try 2y minus 10, y plus 1. Here we go. So let's try 2y. Let's put the minus 10, y plus 1. That's a negative 10y plus 2y, which will give me a negative 8. Nope. Switch the 1 and 10. 2y plus 1. Y minus 10. That's 1y, negative 20y, which will give me negative 19y, almost. Because notice we want to be plus 19. I got a negative 19. So all I got to do now, it says, I know this is not going to work. Let me try this one. But let me use that setting here. Put the plus 10 here and put the minus 1 here. So let me try the last option now. And I'm going to make it look like this, but I'm going to put the 10 on the right side and the minus 1 here. It's plus 10 minus 1. Saves me a step there. This is a minus y. This is plus 20y. When you add them, what do we have? 19y. And finally, we get the right answer. How many tries it took us? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tries to get that answer. And it could get worse than that. Sometimes you're lucky enough, and after one or second try, you get the answer. And others, you spend 10 minutes working on the problem before you hit that answer. So the factoring for this is going to be 2y minus 1, y plus 10. I'm going to show you another tip where I could have eliminated some of the answers. Now, if you look at the original problem, is there anything in common that we can factor out of this problem? The greatest common factor. Look at the 2, the 19, and the 10. No, there's nothing common to them. There's no common factor. Which means when you look at these, like for example, this cannot work. Why? Because if this is the correct answer, you should be able to factor the 2 out of these, put it outside. So that's like a little hint. I could have bypassed this one. That's the only place I can see. Like, this one also will not work. Because if that was the case, I should have factored the 2 out in the front. And we know this problem, there's nothing common to it. The same thing, this one. So little tips you can look for and say, oh, that won't work, that won't work, that won't work. Let me try another one. Factor (18x to the third) minus 21x squared minus the 9x. The first rule in factoring, always factor out the greatest common factor, if there is any. All the previous ones that we did, they have nothing common. Notice, let me take you back and look at these examples. 2, 7, and 6, there's nothing common here. We can't factor anything out. This does not have an x in it. So this one, nope. This one we did, 3, 11, and 10. There's nothing common to these numbers. Next one, 5, 14, and 8. There's nothing common. We can't divide the 5 or the 14 or the 8 by any number. It has to be the same number. Nothing. 6, 25, and 21. Nothing common there. 2, 19, and 10. Nothing common. Here, actually, we see something common. The 18, the 21, and the 9, they're all divisible by 9. So 9 is a common factor. So is the x. They all have at least one x in them. So if I factor 9x out, what is left here? 18 divided by 9 is what? 2. You got 3 x's. You took 1 out. You still have 2 of them on the inside. There's the minus sign. Oh, I can't divide 21 by 9. Mistake here. 21 can't. So it's really not 9. It's actually a 3 here. I fell asleep here. I can't divide. So we'll put that at 3 here. They're all divisible by 3. 18 divided by 3 is what? 6 here. Minus 21 divided by 3, which is what? 7. 2 x's. You have 1 outside. There's still 1 on the inside. And 9 divided by 3, which is a 3, and I took the x out. Now again, the problem says factor, which means factor completely. Is this complete? Or can I factor the inside? Can this be factored more? Well, let's look at it. The 6x squared can be broken down to either 2x times 3x or 6x times 1x. This is a minus. That tells me both signs will have to be different. They're not the same. So that could be negative 3 times a 1 or 3 times a negative 1. So there is the 3x sitting outside. Leave it alone. Let's try to factor the inside of that. Let me try this with this first. I'm covering the 3x's. I took care of it right here. So let's try 2x and 3x. Let's try negative 3 and positive 1. Again, let's see if we have the negative 7x. What's negative 3 times 3? Negative 9x. What's 1 times 2x? 2x, the result is negative 7x, pure luck. I honestly was not thinking about that. So in this case, it worked on the first try. So my factoring of the problem, my complete factoring, is 3x times 2x minus 3 times 3x plus 1. Let's try another one. Factor. y squared, y cubed plus 2y squared minus the 2y. 12y cubed plus 2y squared minus 2y. 12, 2, and 2, they're all divisible by 2, so I can factor a 2 out. I can also factor 1y out. So what is left? 12 divided by 2 is 6. 3y's, you already have 1 here, that means there's 2 more left on the inside. The 2 is gone. I already took it out. I have 2 y's, 1 outside, that means there's still 1 on the inside. Here's the minus. And I took the whole thing, that means there's a 1, not a 0. Because if you put a 0, remember if I multiply this, I should get that. So if you put a 0 here, What is 2y times 0? You will have a 0. You will not have the 2y here. So you want to make sure you get the 2y. If you multiply that through 2y times 1, that's the 2y. And again, can I factor that? 6y, two options. 2y and 3y, or 6y and 1y. It's a negative, which means the signs are different. Negative 1 times 1. And let's try this with this and see if that will do it. Here's the 2y in the front. Leave it alone. And let's try to factor this. 2y and 3y. Let's put 2y here. 3y there. Let's put a minus 1 here, plus 1 here. Negative 3y plus 2y, the result is what? Negative y. I want it to be a positive y, not a negative. So that's not it. Switch the two numbers. So it's 2y plus 1, 3y minus 1. Let's check and see if we have the plus y. That's 3y. That's a negative 2y. When you add them, that's what? Positive y, and that's what you want it to be. Positive y. So the correct factoring now for 12y to the third plus 2y squared minus 2y, if you factor it completely, it is 2y times 2y plus 1 times 3y minus 1. Let's take a few more examples, then we'll wrap it up there. Factor. (36) c squared minus 12c d minus 15 d squared. Again, let's look for the greatest common factor. 36, 12, and 15. I think all of them are divisible by 3. I can't take any c out because this doesn't have it. And I can't take any d out because the first one doesn't have it. So 3 is the greatest common factor. So what's left there? 36 divided by 3 is what? Is that a 12? 12c squared minus 12 divided by 3 is 4c at d minus 15 divided by 3, which is what? 5d squared. So let's look at the 12. I can break the 12c squared into 6c and 2c, 4c and 3c, 12c and 1c. Again, this sign is negative. That tells me the signs are different. So this could be 5d. Let's go minus times 1d, which is positive, or 5d times a minus d. Or 1. If you want to put a 1, go ahead, put a 1 there. And again, your guess is good as mine. Let me try this with this. Hopefully we're lucky enough on the first or the second try we'll have the right answer. If not, we'll be here for a while. I'm going to break this to 6c and 2c. Let's put a negative 5 here, plus 1. What's negative 5 times 2? Negative, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to write the d here. What's negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. D times c or c times d, doesn't matter. 6 times 1 is positive 6cd. When you add them, that's a negative 4cd. Again, pure luck. I was not looking to see. I wanted to work on the first try. I didn't do anything in my head trying to cheat. Just lucky. It does match that number. If that didn't work out, I would put the plus 1d here and the negative 5d on that end. And if still doesn't work out, I'll try the plus 5d and the minus 1d and flip-flop them. And if it still doesn't work out, I'll use the 4 and the 3 instead of the 6 and then 2. But we were lucky here. So 36 c squared minus 12cd minus 15d squared can be broken down to 3 times 6c minus 5d, 2c plus d. You don't have to write the 1. One more of these. Factor 12x squared plus 28xy plus 8y squared. Again, the greatest common factor for 12, 28, and 8. Notice all three numbers are divisible by 4. 4 is the largest number that we can divide the 12 by, the 28 by, and the 8 by. So if you take a 4 out, what's left? 12 divided by 4, that's 3x squared. 28 divided by 4, that's 7. 8 divided by 4, that's 2y squared. This is actually not bad because there's only few choices. For 3x squared, it's only 3x times 1x. This sign is positive. That tells me both numbers the same sign as this one. They're both going to be positive. So 2y squared is only 2y times 1y. So that gives me a few options to try. Here's the 4. And let's put 3x, 1x. Let's try the 2y here and the plus y here. Does it work? Let's see. 2xy, 3xy, when you add them, that's what? 5xy. Not really. I needed 7xy. Switch them. Here's the 4. 3x, 1x. Put the 1y here. Put the 2y here. One xy, 6xy, the result is what? 7xy. Got it. So now when you write the answer, you go, if you factor 12x squared plus 28xy plus 8y squared, if you factor that, your answer should be 4 times 3x plus y, we don't put the 1, times x plus 2y. Again, don't put the 1 for the x. And hopefully, this wasn't bad.